I love cold, snowy, wintry weather because that's when people come to the class. It was pretty last week. It was like holler anybody because it was gorgeous. So thank God for winter and snow. Yay! Yes, yes. I'm happy to hear that. So take a breath. If you see me walking down the street, remember, I start to cry. Ego, what I want you to do. And walk on by. You want to ask the fear to walk on by. Walk on by. You want to ask the lack to walk on by. Make believe you don't see. We want to let go of the fear. Want to let go of the lack. Want to let go of the anger. Want to let go of the depression. Want to let go of blaming. We want to let go of the old way of looking at things. It's time to change our minds. Because if you don't change your mind, you'll find yourself breaking down and crying. If you keep on doing the same thing, ask your old self to walk on by. It's time to recognize that you deserve to be happy all the time. It's time to determine that you're tired of messing around and you're ready to change your mind. It's time to recognize that you've had enough, that you reached your limit, that you had enough, that you reached your limit, that you had enough. It's time to start playing around and keeping the same old patterns going. It's time to stop taking yourself through the same old things over and over again. It's time to step back and let love, let the Creator lead the way. It's time to recognize that you need to resign as your own teacher, as the Course says. Resign as your own teacher, as the Course says. Resign as your own teacher, which it says you will surely do if you honestly appraise the results of you trying to lead yourself all these years. It's time to let go. Tell the fear to walk on by. Tell the old limited ideas about yourself to walk on by. Let it go. It's time to let it go. It's time to release. It's time to let it go. So I'm going to say, I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. Let's step back and let truth lead the way. I will step back and let truth lead the way. I will step back and let truth lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. So we're going to be continuing lesson 155. We talked about it last week. It's called I Will Step Back and Let Him Lead the Way. And we're talking about let God lead the way, let love lead the way. And we're going to start off with paragraph 6 that says, illusion still appears to cling to you. And when I say things from the Course in Miracles, I'm going to give you some of the Course in Miracles definitions of those terms. But remember, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. And some of it's going to be hard to believe, some of it might be quite startling. We're not being asked to judge the ideas at all. It's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to us, and it will show us that the ideas are true. So you can come to 1,000 classes, but if you don't use it, you won't recognize the truth of anything that I'm saying. Let me cut this down just a little bit. So when it says illusion still appears to cling to you, it says illusions still seem to cling to you, but you may reach them. In other words, all the false ideas about who we think we are, the fact that you still think you're separate, think you're human, think you're a body, all of those conceptions of yourself will still appear to cling to you so that you can reach the people around you and be a demonstration of love and truth to them, because we're here to demonstrate love. We're here to demonstrate the truth. The Course in Miracles teaches that there's only one message that we're supposed to be reminding each other of, and that message is that you are innocent. See, most people don't know that their thoughts create their reality, and what they believe and what they focus on is what they manifest. Come into the world, and in many cases we were born into a situation where we were taught that we were guilty or sinful or somehow lacking when we were children. So we got the core belief that we weren't good enough and something was wrong with us. And without realizing that we manifest what we believe about ourselves, we started to create witnesses to that erroneous idea that took the form of whatever pain and suffering you think you went through as a child up until today. So we have some core beliefs that we're separate from love, separate from God, and that we're guilty in some way. As a matter of fact, we're taught that if you saw yourself as sinful and guilty, that was holy. That was actually the way you should see yourself, as somehow flawed, not enough, imperfect. And so you have that belief about yourself and you're a creator, then you manifest relationships, financial situations, health situations, and conditions that cause you pain. That's a reflection of that idea of your unworthiness and your lack of value. So now we are learning how to let our higher power lead us, but we also have to be helpful to everyone around us. And so we'll appear to still be exactly like everyone else so that we can still communicate and still reach them. So it says, yet the false ideas that you have about yourself, if you've been focusing on the truth path, he says, has stepped back. And so it's not false ideas that people are going to hear you speak of, and it's not going to be false ideas or illusions that you bring to people's eyes to look at or their minds to grasp, and nor can the truth which you are letting walk ahead of you right now speak to them through false ideas, because the road that you're on now leads past false ideas of fear and lack. And so an illusion is a false idea that you have that you want to be true even though it isn't true, according to the Course. A false idea is an illusion, is something that basically isn't true, but you want it to be true so bad that you'll try to convince yourself it's true even if it's not. So the Course then says that the truth can walk ahead of you now. It's going to speak to everybody around you through your personality, because you're on a road now that leads past fear. You're on a road now, the Course in Miracles says, that leads past illusions now, while the way you call to them, they may follow you. So I'm going to project and extend love so that the people in my experience can have a demonstration of that, so perhaps they'll also choose to start expressing and moving in the direction of love and truth themselves, because a teacher is a demonstrator. A teacher is a demonstrator. A teacher is a demonstrator. Teachers are someone that's telling you what to do. It's someone that can demonstrate it to you. So I'm always talking about I want love and I want peace and I want people to acknowledge me and I want people to see me as a beautiful person. But then if I'm not doing the same thing myself, I'm not teaching it, I'm not demonstrating it. So no matter what road anybody's on, the Course says all roads will lead to this one in the end. So everybody's going to end up going, the Course says at some point everyone's going to say there must be a better way. At some point everybody's going to reach their limit of whatever level of pain they're going through. And because they're in pain, they might say to themselves, I'd rather be happy than be right. I'm willing to be wrong about the way that I'm seeing things if that's going to result in me having more peace and more love in my life. So I'm not going to be so invested in being right as I'm going to be invested in being happy. So you don't have to worry about, will everybody eventually want to change their mind? It's built into the system. Okay, so it's built into the system that everybody will reach their limit and one day really want true love in their life. It's going to really want true happiness in their life. Some people's tolerance for pain is much greater than others. Some people can go through an enormous amount of pain and suffering before they'll say there must be a better way. And at that point, if they say there must be a better way, the Course then teaches that that's when the divine within you, the voice for God within you, will begin to be heard by you. And then you could hear the guidance you've been receiving all your life. But guidance you haven't been hearing because you've been listening to the things you've been telling yourself. We've been getting divine guidance from the day we were born. People say, well, where is God? Is there such thing as a higher power? Of course, it's saying, of course there is, but it's not going to force its will on you, and it's not going to be any louder than your willingness to listen. So if you don't have a willingness to listen, you won't hear the voice. So it's not that the voice doesn't exist, it's just that until I'm willing to get out of my attachment to the way that I see things that has not worked consistently enough to listen to another way, then I won't hear it. Does that make sense to everybody? The voice for truth is not any louder than your willingness to hear it. Your divine guidance is not any louder than your willingness to hear it. And if you make up what you think is supposed to be happening and then ask for guidance, which of course the Bible says that that's what most of us do. We make up our mind and then we ask God. We say what we think is best for us, then we ask the Creator. That's backwards. That's backwards. The Course in Miracles says a conscious being is saying, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? Universe, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? I don't perceive my own best interest. I have a limited perception of everything. I'm just looking at everything through bits and pieces of my own interpretations. So I don't really have the big picture. So that which has the big picture, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? The world has taught us to be self-sufficient and autonomous so that we are seen as really brilliant and powerful and strong if we make all decisions on our own without turning within to ask for any kind of guidance. So if you're an adult, if you don't ask anybody anything and you figure out everything on your own. The Course of Love teaches that it gets so distorted that people don't want answers that they didn't think up. So therefore, even if someone could give you an answer, you wouldn't want to listen to it because you didn't think of it. That's how arrogant our ego can get. You know, if I didn't think of your answer, I don't want your answer because I didn't think of it. Wow. And another one that's really fun that the Course says is that we think our understanding is a powerful contribution to the truth. In other words, it's like, if I understand it, it's true. If I don't agree with it, it's not true. Okay, so Earl is talking right now. What he's saying is only as true as I believe it. If I agree with him, what he's saying is true. If I don't agree with him, what he's saying couldn't possibly be true. I'm the arbiter of what's true. So the Course says our understanding isn't a powerful contribution to the truth. Our understanding does not make the truth what it is. So I just, in other words, chill. It's not my understanding. What I need to do is receive instruction from within myself and learn how to follow that instruction. I need to learn how to remove all the blocks in my mind that keep me from hearing that instruction, because I don't really know what really is going on. I don't know the big picture. So the Course says what we do then, since we don't know what's going on, is that we walk around and judge. We judge because he says we're trying to interpret what's going on, and through our judgment convince ourselves we know what's going on. The truth is I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to interpret your motivations, and then I'm going to react to my interpretation of your motivations as if my interpretation is true. Earl is talking right now. I'm going to interpret what that means, and then I'm going to react to him as if my interpretations are true because I'm trying to convince myself I know what's going on. So judgment, the way that we are taught to do it according to the Course, which we don't have to believe, is just an attempt to convince yourself you know what's going on because it's too frightening to admit to ourselves we don't have the slightest idea what's going on. Like nobody in this room can tell me exactly what they're going to be doing 3 hours from now. So we really don't know, but that's too frightening, especially for an adult. So then they go into their judgments, which are, by the way, based on what they learned in the past, which, by the way, might not be accurate at all. So isn't that the trip? You got people judging you all day based on inaccurate information from their own past that has nothing to do with you, and then they're dealing with you as if that's true. That's frightening. That's scary to think that all of you all are going to deal with me in terms of whatever you've learned in your past and experienced in your past, which leaves me out of the whole process. And then I just become a projection screen for your beliefs. So whatever experience you've had with a black man, then you project that on me as if that's normally my characteristic. Whatever experience you've had with a man, whatever experience I've had with a woman, whatever experience I've had with somebody in a white body or somebody from Colorado, all those experiences I'm bringing into this moment to interpret your motivation and to say where you're coming from. And then I deal with it as if you are the way I believe you are. So the truth is, none of us really know nothing about what's really going on. We're just seeing our own past, learning. So what I'm doing is I'm just sharing with you things from A Course in Miracles. These are not things, this is not Earl's wisdom. I'm just sharing with you what it's saying. And hopefully when you leave out today, if you are disoriented and confused, I've done a good job. Because if you're disoriented and confused, it means that just for a minute, maybe you heard something that made you question the way that you've been looking at things. And that's where the disorientation comes in, which is good. Because in the end, you are going to be the one that has to choose and make the decision and the choices for yourself. I'm supporting your freedom. Your right to do that. Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm much too lazy to try to be a cult leader or a leader or a spiritual leader or anything like that. It's too hard. It's easier for me to just move along at the pace that I like to move along and apply this stuff as quickly as I can to myself than to spend all day trying to get somebody else to do it. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be much easier for me to accept this for myself than to try to get you to accept it. But what I'm learning how to do is to give the message, give the gift, and then relinquish all concern about whether or not you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, and if you're going to use it. The Course in Miracles teaches that anytime you give anybody anything and you remain concerned about the outcome of what you just gave, then you are imprisoning them with your gift instead of making it freely given. So if I give you something and then I want to make sure that you use it the way that I deem appropriate, then I just made you a prisoner with my gifts. Just like some people invite you out to dinner and you don't even want to go, because you know there's going to be a lot of obligation that's going to come behind that. They're not giving it to you freely. There's an expectation. Oh, I invited you out to dinner 3 times. You haven't invited me out at all. But I didn't ask you to invite me out the 3 times you did. Right. So why is it my responsibility to reciprocate? If it was a free gift, your joy should have been in inviting me out to dinner. That should have been the thing that took care of all of it. It was equal at that point. The giving and receiving happened at the same time. So the Course teaches that what we see as giving is just bargains made with guilt. Because then I make the person feel guilty if they don't keep the bargain. I did it for you, now you got to do it for me. If you don't, something's wrong with you, you're selfish. Don't analyze this, your mind will blow up. So you got to keep on moving forward in this, you know what I'm saying? Don't try to analyze what I'm saying. Because a lot of times, and it's not always true, but analyzation is an attempt to not apply the information that you just received. It's like I got the answer, but I'm not ready to use it yet, so now analyze it, because that's a great way for me to stall around about getting and using the information that I can pretend I'm doing great things because I'm analyzing it. But don't forget, the first 4 letters of analyze is anal. Right? And then the last part is lies. Anal lies. Yeah, so we like to anal lies. That's one of our favorite things to do, is to anal lies. So good. Analyze all night, because all you're trying to do, the Course in Miracles says all you're trying to do is destroy the meaning of everything you just heard. Because if you break it down in little pieces, you think you'll understand it better. But if you chop me up in little pieces, you wouldn't know who I was. So it really is dealing with things as a whole that gives you the awareness of it, not chopping it down into little pieces, unless every piece contains the whole. And in the truth, every bit of the truth contains the whole truth. So all you need to do is take one truth and use it consistently, and it will lead you to all truth. So if you hear one idea that works for you, that you go, okay, I can buy that for myself, that would be something I'd be willing to apply, then that one truth used consistently would take you into all truth. But the Course also teaches that what the ego mind, what the fearful mind does is does not focus on what it can use now, but focuses all its attention on theoretical issues that can't be proven. So we can enter a great debate about reincarnation because nobody can prove it, right? But if I say to you, you could take an idea today that you hear and start applying it to your life today, you could do that. So people love to talk about theoretical stuff, because there's no way anybody can prove it, right? So that's what he's saying to us right now. In the people that you're dealing with in your life right now, understand that all roads will lead to this one in the end, where they start to choose for peace and start to choose for love. They're the only 2 things you can choose anyway, is love or fear. Love has many names, fear has many names. Remember, the Course says there are only 2 emotions we experience, love or fear. But remember, an emotion is a response. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. An emotion is a response. So that means that you have only 2 responses, love or fear. That makes a lot more sense. I have only two emotions, love or fear. No, I have only two responses, love or fear. And I'm using that response to what is. See, there's what is, whatever it is, right? Whatever this is. And then we have two responses. A response of peace, a response of conflict, a response of love, a response of fear. So we always are responding to what's already occurred. So by the time we experience something physically, we are seeing the tail end of the creation. By the time it's physical, you're at the end of it. It's done. You know, by the time you physically see me sitting in the chair, if I'm not mistaken, I'm already sitting in the chair. So everything you physically see is already the end result. So that's why you can't focus in on the effect. You have to focus in on the cause. So if you're trying to have a more abundant life, you can't compare your present state of poverty to the abundance that you want to have, because the present state of poverty that you think you have is nothing but the tail end of the way you used to think. So that means if you say you want a relationship and you want to have loving relationships, you can't compare anything about the fact that you haven't been asked out on a date in 6 months. You have to recognize that that's the result of thoughts you already have had, and so now you need to tell yourself something different, even while you're seeing the results of what you used to think. So in the beginning, you're being asked to have the, you're being asked to focus on the truth and to understand that sometimes the truth is not something you perceive first. The perception comes later. I'll see the love in my life after I start giving it. I'll see the abundance after I start being generous. But I can't compare where I am now to what I want to have. So the Course then says that sacrifice and deprivation are paths that lead nowhere. So we're being told that if you're one of these people that believe that sacrifice is the way, you're going nowhere. And then when you believe in sacrifice and just deprivation, it says these are choices for defeat and aims that will remain impossible. And all this steps back as the truth comes forth in you. Whoa, let me hear that again. You mean deprivation and sacrifice will step back as I let the truth step forward? I am spirit, I am love, I am not alone, I am created, I am one with you, I create my reality, I'm the one that's giving everything I see all the meaning it has for me, I have a body, I'm more than a body. As I practice the truth and tell myself the truth, he says automatically sacrifice and deprivation are paths that you will leave. So either I'm sacrificing or I'm allowing myself to receive my divine abundance. You all are entitled to abundance. You all are entitled to it. People talk about entitlement. You are entitled according to this. Now, again, just according to this, which you don't have to believe. It says you are entitled to abundance and happiness and prosperity because of who you are and what created you is. So the whole idea of paying and earning is a concept that was created by people who don't know who they are. Because anyone who knows who they are know that it's about removing the blocks to allowing yourself to receive the blessings that are yours by your divine right. And then be an example of that for everybody else who's forgotten it. So how can I tell when I am not aware of who I really am? I see myself as struggling and alone and in deprivation and lack and sacrifice. How can I tell what area of my life that I'm not practicing the truth is whatever area of my life that I feel like I'm sacrificing, losing, unhappy, and miserable? If you feel that way about your whole life, then just say, I'm looking at my whole life incorrectly. Doesn't mean you're bad. Notice I didn't say you were sinful, guilty, and bad. I just said you were looking at it incorrectly. Like as soon as I get afraid or angry or upset, I don't deny that fear. Because all my feelings are innocent, so I don't have to act like I don't feel it if I feel it. But I need to remind myself that if I'm feeling anything less than peace, there's something about the way I'm looking at it that is not correct, even up to and including death. I don't even have the correct perception of death. How do I know I don't have the correct perception of death? Because it bothers me. So that means I don't even see death correctly. How do I know I'm not seeing me correctly? Because I don't jump up and down in joy every time I think about me or see me. How do I know you're not seeing your partner correctly? Because you run it when you see it. The first thing you want to do is talk about what's lacking, what's missing, and what you wish you could change. Who wants to be with somebody that's telling them all the time, if you were different, I'd be happy. 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 If you were different, I would be happy. If you were different, I would be happy. If you would be different, I'd be. If you just do it different, if you just change, if you would just change, I'd be happy. If you just, that's a person that's telling you all day long, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're bad, something's wrong with you, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're bad, something's wrong with you, you're wrong. Boy, why would you in the world want to be with somebody like that? Unless you agreed with it.
That's the new dating website. If you were different, I'd be happy.
Yeah, the name of a new we got a new dating website. If you were different, I'd be happy.
We'll sign up like crazy.
And and then we sell each other that bill of goods. You know that bill of goods that you sell each other right in the beginning of a relationship where you say, I'll just be whatever you want me to be, baby. I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy, baby. Just tell me what you want. See, when you're telling them, I will change myself in order to make you happy. You're the one that got it started, right? And then when they start expecting it, then you go, wait a minute. But you didn't realize you created it. You created it because you said, I will change myself for you. And so when they start saying, change yourself, what you talking about? You know? Wow. But I'm looking for someone that's saying to me, hey, I love the way you are. The way you are is just perfect for me. I wouldn't change anything about you. We can both evolve, but it's not because something's wrong with you. So I'm not going to even go there. I won't even talk about that. Okay. Now, it says, as this steps back, as truth comes forth in you to lead your brothers from the ways of death and set them on the way to happiness. So the once you decide to be happy, then you become a living demonstration of the benefits that a person experiences when they start to focus in on the truth and focus in on God. And when I say God, you use whatever term you need to use for something greater than your own ego, a higher power, whatever you want to call it, a greater self, the universe, whatever words you need to say because you haven't dealt with your God issues yet. Okay, now, because that's the only reason why the word would frighten you. You have some issues. Or a word wouldn't bother you. The word is neutral. All words are neutral, ultimately. Right? I mean, we all see that. We're the one that's giving it all the meaning. So if I say God, you go, you got a God issue. At the very least, even if you said you were a person that didn't even believe in a higher power, then if you really don't have any power that you're giving to that, it should not disturb your peace. So if you really say, I don't even really believe in God, okay, then it shouldn't bother you to hear it, the word. You should be completely untouched. So if you think that you're beyond something that you still have an emotional reaction to, you're not. Why? How do you know your emotional reaction? Right? You know, remember several months back when I said that class, when I talked to that class about somebody using the N-word, and then and how that I didn't give it the power that I used to give it, or the way that I looked at it, because I recognized that I'm more than anything of a word that somebody could call me. And then the very next week, I had an encounter with somebody that called me one over and over and over again to my face. And I knew immediately I had created it, because I had just got through talking about the fact that I wouldn't react to somebody saying that to me. So I knew there was absolutely no way that was an accident that had happened in 30-something years, 40 years. So the person who didn't know the truth would have been like freaking out, and I was going, damn, the truth is true. Here I am now having to deal with the word right in front of me. And then she had a turban on. Which was interesting, you know. I called her the Turbinator. She was really intense. She was intense little lady about that tall. It was the funniest encounter that I've ever had, you know. And it was funny because she was in my building that I lived in. She had been there 20 years. I'd never seen her. But as soon as I said that, I created her. I refused to do anything but accept responsibility for that creation. And she moved. It was weird. It was weird. I did not attack her, and I recognized the truth, and what could have bothered me left. Exactly what the Course in Miracles says will happen. I got a direct demonstration of practicing the truth. I did not attack her. I saw her as being a call for love. I did not identify with that as being my identity, and so I did not get all caught up in it. And so what the Course says happens when you don't invest in an illusion, it fades away. They only keep going because you're investing in them with a lot of anger and a lot of fear and a lot of attack. You know? So the truth always works when you use it. But the reason why it's not very popular in this world is because it requires you to not attack. And nothing's more popular in an ego-fearful world than the idea of attack. The Course says, and we have 100 million justifications for attack. Would you mind shutting that door right there for me? Thank you. Okay, and I'm going to throw it open in this second for questions. Just want to get some points across before we basically try to destroy the meaning of everything we just heard. So let's okay. So whatever you feel the greatest amount of resistance to of what I say, that might be the thing you want to take a look at. Why did that bring up resistance? Why did that bother you? What was it about that caused you discomfort? You want to take a look at the things that you have resistance to, not so much the things always that you feel good about hearing. Because if I say something and you agree with everything I've said, then you didn't hear anything new. But if I've said something and you find yourself hearing things that you want to go, yes, but, 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 you might be hearing something different. That's why you got all the yes buts, and you all have nice, firm, round yes buts out. I can tell just by being around y'all. That's the truth of this group. Okay. Please don't limit me and imprison me with the idea of what a spiritual teacher or a teacher is supposed to be like. I don't want to be imprisoned by your concepts of who I should be and how I should be. And I won't be. I'm just going to be Earl. And that's it. I'm not here to act out anybody's script about what a spiritual person is supposed to be like. I'm a spiritual person that loves orgasms. Yes. Okay. I only have two responses to them: love or fear. Did you take the pill? Okay. So anyway. Love or fear. Love or fear. I love the way of mastery because it talks about how one of the things we're so terrified to talk about on the spiritual path is money and sex. Everybody who's spiritual don't talk about money, they don't talk about sex, because that just makes you spiritual, but that's what most people are dealing with. But you're spiritual, you don't talk about it, All right, so I'm the teacher for talk to all the people who don't want to do it the regular way. I'm looking for the renegades. I'm looking for the ones who know that there has to be a better way, know that they don't want to continue to buy into the stuff that they've been taught, know that what they were taught as children was not something that resonated with them, want to be free, want to express themselves. I'm here for those souls who are not trying to act out the programming that they receive from the world, but people who want to authentically express who they really are and get in touch with their own inner guidance and their own higher power within themselves. That's what I'm here for, because that's what I want. So I want to give what I want to receive. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So I'm not here to make you over in my image. I'm here to encourage you to let go of your image so that you can see who you are. And I can let go of my image and see who I truly am. So this is what this is saying to us, that like he says right here, all of the pain steps back as truth comes forth in you to lead your brothers from the ways of death and set them on the way to happiness. Your brothers and sisters, if you need to feel it that way, the Course says, your suffering is but an illusion. What? So you're suffering because most people are suffering from what they're telling themselves and not suffering from physical pain that's happening to them. The vast majority of people, like right now, they're suffering more from the conversation that they're having in their own mind than they're suffering from a physical thing that's happening to them. So like right now, if you're suffering and you're sitting in here and you're not in physical pain, but you're suffering, then you know your suffering is in your own mind and nowhere else. So it's you that's causing your suffering through what you're telling yourself, and that is why it's an illusion. Because it's not real. It's just in your own mind and what you're telling yourself. So he says, then we need a guide to lead us out of our suffering and illusions, because we're mistaking what's illusion for the truth. He says that's the call of salvation. That's the call of peace and nothing more. Peace just asks that you accept the truth. First you accept the truth, and then you let the truth go before you. So when you have a situation come up, you would ask yourself, what would my truth tell me to do in this situation? What would the truth that I say I believe in and the truth that I say I'm about? Notice I didn't say the Course in Miracles, because the Course in Miracles may not be your path. But you did hear me say, what did your truth? If you say you have a truth, and you have a spiritual path, and you have any kind of personal growth or any kind of consciousness of awareness, then it says, well, you would ask yourself, what would my truth have me do in this situation? And he says, and then let it go before you, lighting up the ransom up from illusion. It's not a ransom with the price. There is no cost. All the cost is coming from not believing the truth. You only gain when you believe the truth, when you focus on the truth. Now, I'm not one of these people saying there is only one truth, but there is only one truth. There are a gazillion different ways of getting to it. There is not your truth, my truth, your truth, your truth, your truth. If everybody got their own truth, we never communicate, we never understand each other, we never get nothing done. I don't even know what your truth is. So, but the truth is, if you was to suck all the air out of this room right now, no matter what your truth is, all the bodies would drop on the floor. So whatever that truth is for all of us, that's the truth. You got what I'm saying? Yeah, the truth that's beyond belief. The truth that's beyond your ability to judge and say, oh, I think this is it. No, I don't think, there's an underlying truth that we are all one. There's an underlying truth that we are loved. There's an underlying truth that we are creating our experience of our reality. That's true of all of us. And so the Course is telling us that if you're practicing the truth, then you only gain. It doesn't cost you anything. And you'll realize that all your false ideas just seem to hold you in chains. But it's only from false ideas that you're being saved. So the only thing the Course says we need to be saved from is the false ideas that we have, the illusions that we have. And it says as our false ideas or illusions step back, that's when I find myself again. Like if I had the illusion that I was guilty, that I was bad, that I was not enough, that I don't deserve to be happy, then as those ideas are released from my mind, then I come to find who I am again. That loving, powerful self that God created me to be again. So as your illusions step back, as your false ideas step back, then you find who you are again. So if you're not happy right now, for any reason, just tell yourself, I'm wrong about myself, I'm wrong about myself, I'm misperceiving myself, I'm not seeing myself correctly. There's something that I'm telling myself that's not true. You don't want to be miserable and right. If you're miserable and right, where do you go? How can you be helped? So if you're miserable, don't want to be right, wherever you're miserable. But in the New Age culture, New Thought culture, it's very popular to say, well, don't ever say anything is wrong, everything is right. The Course says you don't have time enough to try all roads. If all roads lead to where you're going, you won't live long enough to try all of them. So it would be better for you to go, going down this way wouldn't be the quickest way for me to get to Unity Temple. So this would be the wrong way for me to go because it's going to take me out to Red Rocks. So you go, you just made a wrong turn. Your GPS doesn't go, you can just do all directions. You would never get anywhere. Oh, you right here? Huh? We have to watch taking the New Thought stuff and just being stupid with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I go west long enough, I'll end up back at church. You know what I'm saying? If I go west long enough, I'll end up in my apartment, but then I could have been there in 10 minutes. That's been a 3-month trip. But I was right. But it wasn't the wrong way. So realize that sometimes it speeds you along to say, this is wrong-minded for me, this is right-minded for me, this is the way I should go, this is the way I should not go. Don't throw away your common sense in the name of spiritual awareness. Because plenty of us do that. We just take our common sense and just throw it right out the window, So don't do that. Okay, now, any questions or comments about anything that I've said so far? And it could be simply just you sharing your opinion. Because we're dying to hear it. Yes?
You were talking a little while ago about we have no idea what's going on in our lives.
For real.
That's something that I came to understand a few years ago, but I still struggle with it. Every now and again, I really miss feeling sure.
Yeah, and you could be sure. Yeah, I know. And thank God, because that desire for certainty is what spurs a person getting on the spiritual path. That desire because all of us know there is something real that we can depend on, that we can always count on. We know it deep in our souls. Everybody who comes here knows is more than what we've been taught, right? And that's what keeps us moving forward. That's what's moving you forward on your spiritual path. And you can get to that certainty. But to get to that certainty, you need a spiritual practice. And a spiritual practice would be whatever it is that you use for your own personal growth. You choosing that path, and then you doing what that path says. I meet people, I've been doing this 40 years. And I meet people constantly that say they want to be happy, and they want to grow, and they want to have, but they won't practice a spiritual path. They won't go to something greater than their own ego. They think it's just going to just pop up in their minds because they were hiking. You know what I'm saying? It's like hiking can give you the peace that may allow you to hear the voice for God within you, but if you don't know how to tell the difference between the voice for God and you and your own voice, you're going to come back from the hike still doing dumb things. So it's really important to know when I'm listening to my higher self and when I'm just listening to the self that's been programmed by the world that really doesn't love me as much as it should. And that's what the Course in Miracles does for me. It says it only has one purpose, to teach you how to tell the difference between when you're listening to your own inner guidance and when you're listening to the guidance you're making up for yourself, so that you can make the only obvious choice, the choice that's going to lead you to what you want. But if I don't know, because the voice is going to sound like your voice. 99% of the time, your spiritual guidance will sound like your own voice, but so will the stupid guidance. And so the stupid guidance will sound like your voice, and your higher guidance will sound like your voice. So how do I tell the difference between the two? I need to know the content. I need to know what the voice of love and truth would say to me, and how it would communicate to me, and how the voice of fear and unawareness would communicate to me. How would fear communicate to me? How would love communicate to me? And that's what the spiritual teaching does. It teaches you the difference between when you're just coming up with another one of your plans that's not going to work. And he says, how can you tell when it's your plan? He said, the way you can tell when it's your plan is when you get it, you're not satisfied. So whenever you've accomplished anything and you weren't satisfied, it was your plan. Our egos are so intense that it makes us think that something's wrong with us if we're satisfied. The ego in our minds makes us feel like unless you're constantly striving every second, you're a slacker. So therefore, you never get a chance to actually enjoy anything you create for yourself. Actually, it's about, let me be grateful and let me be thankful for what I've manifested and what's manifested in my life right now. And out of that gratitude, allow me to expand in even more gratitude and more things to love and be grateful for. That's different from I just got this. Oh, it doesn't really satisfy me. Let me give you something else. Oh, I just got this. Oh, that's pitiful. It's not really enough. Let me get this. Oh, I just want this. We're dangling these carrots in front of our own faces, running around all day, working ourselves to death because of things we're making up that we want that don't satisfy us. And I tell you what's even dumber than that. We let somebody else tell us what should be the thing that make us happy that we should. You know what I'm saying? Calvin Klein has told me that I can never enjoy my underwear unless it's his pair. And somehow I believe that works in Calvin Klein's favor. So I know people wouldn't just be making up things for me to do that benefit them, would they? And then when I'm unconscious, I find myself actually judging myself by that. I won't go to the gym because I don't have on Calvin Klein's. So I'm an underwear failure. It's stupid, isn't it? The Course in Miracles says that. It says that when we hear the way we think, say it back to us, it sounds completely crazy. But it makes a lot of sense as long as we hear bits and pieces of it. But when someone takes our whole thought system, which is based on, it's your fault. If you change, I'd be happy. It's something outside of me doing this to me. He says that's our basic belief, that everything is being done to us. We're a victim. And someone just says that, and I say it to you over and over again, what would you say to me? No, you're not. But when I do it, it'll sound like it makes perfect sense. So I'm here to tell you, you're not a victim. You're very powerful. That you're unlimited creators that are creating through your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, and your reality is reflecting back to you everything you believe about yourself, consciously and unconsciously, especially unconsciously. The people in your life show up to get you in touch with the beliefs you have about yourself that you don't know you have. That's why you're attracted to them and you don't know why. Because they're presenting you with aspects of yourself that you're in denial about. That's why you're attracted to some people and not others. If you're really in denial about yourself, it'll look like the people you're attracted to are exact opposites to you and are antagonistic to you. because you're refusing to own what you're looking at as being your own thought. Whatever you reject is what you meet. The world is made up of what you don't want, projected from you because you're afraid of it. That's why I went, what? Well, look at what you don't want this, right? And you don't want that. But I do want that. Okay, then you own it. But if you really don't want to be in conflict with any of it, just say all of it's a part of my consciousness, and now I'm going to choose which parts of my consciousness I want to invest in, and what parts of my consciousness I want to no longer invest in. I no longer want to invest in the parts of me that criticize and judge me and condemn me. I want to invest in the thoughts of love, support, and appreciation. But it's all in my mind. But you know and I know what you don't invest in fades away. So that's the same as saying what you're not grateful for is going to leave. So if you're with somebody and in a situation that you think you really enjoy, I would advise you to start expressing gratitude to yourself and to the people involved as much as you possibly can, because what you don't appreciate, the Course in Miracles teaches, will leave. So anything you're taking for granted might not be around too long. You might want to take the time to tell that person that you say you love so much that you do, and not just assume they're going to be there. Because if you don't appreciate something, it's the same as saying I don't want it. It's deep. But it explains a lot of relationships in my life. I wasn't really appreciating. I wasn't really appreciating or letting them know. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to have you in my life. I am. Always. As much as I possibly can. That's why I don't know a lot of you personally, so we can keep the gratitude going. We got this stuff down to a fine science. Y'all come up to me, we hug out the class, and I don't see you no more. And I just love you for years. We just been loving each other for years. Okay. And so, like I say, you get into a relationship when you're ready to let go of blocks and give an opportunity to give love personally, because if you can't love one person, you're kind of kidding around when you say you love everybody. Right? I love everyone. I love everyone. Well, the truth is, love doesn't call for any effort. Specialness does. That's deep. When the book told me that, well, actually, love doesn't require effort. It's what you are. It's not like the sun is straining to be hot. Okay, the son isn't going to a workshop. How can I be hot? It's kind of funny when you think about it. But we like, how can I be loving? Same thing. How can I be loving? You are love. You are light. That's what you are. It's just covered up. You got this big old lampshade over it, and your lampshade is your body. Your body is just your lampshade. And you got two kind of bulbs. You got a love bulb in there, and you got a fear bulb in there. And if you got a fear bulb, then you got fear coming through your body. So most of the time, people are not responding to you in a loving way because you got a fear light. Then some of us got the love, joy coming through, right? And then people are responding to that. But your body is neutral. Your body is neutral. But we don't have a neutral perception of bodies. You know, we have body preferences. Don't you have body preferences? Say yes. Thank you very much. No, I never even noticed people. I see everyone here like, you know, they're all equally to me. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Bodies, I never noticed anybody's body here. Because I'm spiritual. We know spiritual people do not look at butts. They just don't do it. Be outrageous. Be your authentic self so that you end up surrounded by people who accept you who you are. Because those who judge you, they will bless you with their separation. They'll say, that Earl Purdy, I'm never coming back to his class anymore. God bless you. Because I knew people who didn't like me who stuck around. So now I'm on the level of consciousness that I love myself so much that they are repelled. I used to be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, haven't you had people that wasn't treating you right at your request, that you didn't even know it, but they wouldn't go anywhere? And you'd be going like, why don't you leave? You know what I'm saying? But the truth is I didn't love myself enough to repel what didn't love me. So I was actually magnetizing them to me. Now it's just the opposite. Don't compromise about who you are. You can compromise about what TV show to watch, but don't compromise about who and what you truly are. Be your authentic self and be around people who support that authentic self. And your authentic self is so loving, so beautiful, so worthy, that when people see it, they'll scarce be able to refrain from getting down on their knees and just crying because of what they see is so beautiful. One day you'll walk in the room and people will just cry. You know, I was having dinner last week with a friend of mine. We were sitting there talking, and this lady just came up from out of nowhere, and she stood up at the table and she said, "Wow, you really have such a wonderful light in your clothes. Your sweater you have on is so beautiful, and your goatee, and I love bald heads, and you just feel like such a wonderful person." And then she left. You know, and it's like my ego could have went, "Oh, I'm bad, I'm really, really bad." You know what I'm saying? I could have been a Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, no, it was just gratitude and being recognized. And that took some, you know, you think about that, you know, that will happen to you. You know, I got on the elevator, and I told that story. This girl just got on the elevator and just grabbed me and just hugged me, and just put her head on her chest, because my chest, and then she just got off the elevator.
What? Mm-hmm.
You know, and she was safe. See, she was a good judge of character, and she didn't even know it. She actually hugged somebody that just would hug her back and not try to do more than that. You know, so and the reason why I'm mentioning this is not for my own ego gratification, but to witness back to you that this is the kind of stuff that the Course in Miracles teaches, that you will begin to experience, is what appears to be strangers will start to reflect love back to you in a way that is actually kind of freaks you out because you didn't expect it. But we all are loved, and we will let it come through. But I'm going to tell you something, the more loving you try to be at first, everything that's not love will come up to be released. And so you will go through periods of disorientation and confusion, or you'll feel anger coming up, or depression coming up, and you'll think something is wrong, but it's not anything wrong. It's just that you're really beginning to let love and light in, and so everything that's not love and light and the opposite to it will come up to be released. That's what you see happening in the world. That's why it seems more insane than ever right now. It's because there are so many light workers in the world, including you. So you may be having that effect on your own family. You come around and stuff really get crazy. Or you come around and they go, and you haven't said anything. Because a true healer doesn't have to say anything. They just have to be the love. That's it.
It's what they call the aura.
That's right. You got that energy field around your body that changes colors according to the way you feel. And when you begin to get spiritual, true psychic awareness, you'll be able to tell what people are thinking by the colors that they're radiating around them. And you won't even have to wonder what's going on. They'll be showing you by their color. Yeah. But you don't really develop that kind of psychic ability until you would not use it to hurt yourself or appear to hurt somebody else. So as long as you're on an unconscious, unloving level, you tend to not have a lot of awareness because you would misuse it without knowing it. So the more loving you are, the more gifts you'll discover that you have that will allow you to be safe in the physical world because you have awareness. You know, like one student asked his spiritual master, "You trying to tell me that if a person had a rifle and they were aiming at you, what would happen?" You know, and he said, "Well, I just wouldn't come around." Because you would be aware. So you would be safe because of your awareness, and your awareness connected with source. So you wouldn't have to be worried about the police or what's going to happen or whatever, because your vibration, your consciousness, the love that you are, wouldn't even attract that to you. But if you are full of defensiveness and fear, and you look at everything as your enemy, and you're suspicious of everything, that's the same as saying, "I am expecting attack." And then when you're attracted, you wonder where it comes from, and you don't know that it's coming from your own defensive posture. Deep. So I know that this was deep, and we're going to step back, and we want to let truth lead the way, and you're told blessings. So could we acknowledge ourselves for letting ourselves hear this much today? My God, that was true stuff. I needed to hear this. So what am I saying? Please devote yourself to some type of spiritual path or spiritual practice, especially if you're not happy and you've worked your best plans and they haven't worked. And if you don't feel like your spiritual path is working for you, then chunk it. get rid of it. If you think you've been doing the Course in Miracles and it looks like the Course in Miracles isn't working for you, then ask for another way for Spirit to reach you. Don't fall in love with the road sign. Don't fall in love with the road sign. So I do this full time in the world. I'm going to do a financial expression of appreciation. Thank you so much for sharing with me, if you choose to. I really appreciate that. Would you pass that back there behind you there, brother? Sure. Those of you online that are watching the classes, thank you for your financial expressions of appreciation. If you'd like to make one, you can go to my website at earlpurdy.com. And also, I do one-on-one personal sessions called clarity sessions, that we take all this truth and apply it to your situation that you're ready to see a breakthrough in. And also, if you're open to it, I also have practiced astrology and numerology for 40 years. And for those who are open to receiving a message that way, I use that. But it's not necessary for you to do a session with me. And just go to the website and it explains all of that. And if you go to my website and sign the contact list, then I will send you a link to the videos of the classes directly to your mailbox, as well as keeping you aware of the events that are going on. That's why I video all of my classes. All of my classes are online, earlpurdy.com, and also if you Google my name, it'll come up on YouTube. So in other words, you can watch these classes over and over again, and there are over 900 classes on YouTube. I don't know how 900 classes got on there, but they all look like I did it. But it's amazing. I've had a 6,000 increase in viewership in the last month. Wow. It's been amazing. Isn't that cool? That really tripped me out, because I haven't really been like promoting myself. So it's been great to see Spirit pass that on. So there's a lot of really cool brothers and sisters out there that are watching these classes. So repetition is the way. Repetition is the way. Tuesday nights I do a class called The Way of Mastery, which is another very powerful metaphysical spiritual class. So what is my point? My point is you do have support. There are other people that want to do the same thing you're doing. That if you have reached your limit and you're ready to see it another way, then this is an opportunity to do that. I'm putting together some classes, what I call even more advanced classes of the Course in Miracles, for those who are already studying it and already know that they want to go deeper in it also. So I'm going to put myself out there to give what I really want to receive, and I'm going to do a quick little review, and we'll head out into the lab. And so, yeah, if you'd like to be on the contact list, please sign, and if you can also go to the website and do it, okay? So take a breath. This is going to be your chance just to groove and just to hear for a minute. I'm going to do a few of the Course in Miracles workbook lessons. And if you hear one lesson that I do that you think you'd like to work with this week, I would advise you to use it. Oh yeah, yeah. So tell yourself, I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. Oh love, I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Forgiveness offers everything I want. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. Let me remember I am one with God. Let me remember I am one with God. In quiet I receive God's word today. In quiet I receive God's word today. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is Now, anyone that does not mind saying it with me, this is a really good lesson to remember. I'll say it again. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given. Now, that's right, get loud with me. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. What? All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. I say, love that I give is given to myself. What? Love that I give is given to myself. Love that I give is given to myself. Joy, joy that I give is given to myself. Joy that I give is given to myself. Freedom, freedom that I give is given to myself. Yeah, freedom that I give is given to myself. And freedom that I give is given to myself. Freedom that I give is given to myself. Boogie that I give is given to myself. Oh, the boogie that I give is given to myself. Ooh, love that I give is love that I give is given to myself. About money, money that I give is given to myself. Money that I give is given to myself. Peace, peace that I give is given to myself. Fun, fun that I give is given to myself. Fun that I give is given to myself. Let's give it up, mighty companions. Such a blessing in my life. Thank you so much for coming today. Hugs are available, and may the course be with you. Love y'all. All right. You're going out in the lab now.